Welcome to Mortgage MarketSmart. This video focuses on what you can do with the system at a high level. First, we are looking at the Atlanta market by county. What we're doing is we're looking at our forecast for where purchase mortgage opportunity will be. So again, we're looking at it by units and dollars. Blue counties mean less opportunity, red counties mean more opportunities. So as a lender, I want to figure out where my opportunity is in a specific market. Once I do that, especially since these are large counties, for example, if I click on Fulton, I can see that this is a $10.1 billion market. On Gwinnett, $5.9 billion, just around $6 billion. So these are giant counties. So I'm going to remove the county level layer, and what I'm left with underneath is the census tract view, basically identifying where the pockets of opportunity are underneath those larger counties. Same concept though, blue census tracts with less opportunity, red census tracts with more opportunity. Once I identify the pockets of opportunity within the market, I can add my branches as a lender. So here are my physical branches. And the last piece of information I would want is to be able to see my actual originations, whether they are 2021, as represented by these green circles, or whether they are 2022 year to date. The point of having the forecast, the locations, and the originations on the same map is to be able to visually see where we potentially have gaps in coverage. What do I mean? Well, let's take this branch location, for example. I could sit down with this tool and talk to the branch manager or loan officer sitting in this branch and say, look, in our backyard, in our own very own census tract, we're forecasting $278 million of opportunity. Okay, and in fact, right next door is an additional 232, and right here is 234. Right here is another 189, and right here is another 106. So we're just under $1 billion of purchase opportunity in 2022. So it's great that we are originating loans kind of all over, but the bread and butter for this specific location is these 3 orange census tracts, where again, if I said, look, we did they're forecasting $278 million of opportunity, and last year we originated 6 loans. We are leaving money on the table. So the point is, okay, what do we do with this information? One is we can reposition our loan officers to make sure that they're focusing on this area. Or 2, we can say, all right, well, let's use this information to potentially hire additional loan officers that we are going to show this tool to and say, we are going to have you out of this branch and you're going to focus on this area because this is where the opportunity is, and therefore you'll be in the best position to succeed. From here, I'm going to hide the branches and hide the loans, and we're going to zoom back out for a moment. We're going to take a mental snapshot of the purchase opportunity because this is for all borrowers. And now we're going to segment the market to look at Atlanta by race and ethnicity. So here is where the African American borrowing opportunity is. It's almost like a U shape to the south of Center City. And this looks different from the Hispanic opportunity, which looks like this with a lot of opportunity to the northeast, which also looks different from the Asian opportunity, which is still in the northeast but in different areas. So the whole point is that this is the same market, but depending on the segment or segments you're going after, you want to make sure that your lending strategy corresponds. From here, we can also look at the opportunity by loan type. So this is the jumbo opportunity in Atlanta. And then finally, we can look at the opportunity by borrower income. So these purple or magenta census tracts represent the low to moderate or LMI census tracts in Atlanta. And in fact, if I hide all of my layers except for LMI so that I can isolate these, I can then put my branches back on, put my loans back on, and figure out, hey, am I missing opportunity when it comes to LMI in Atlanta? And visually, I would say yes, there are plenty of holes, of gaps in coverage when it comes to LMI. So the next step is not only to identify where these LMI census tracts are, but in fact, let's quantify the opportunity in these LMI census tracts. So the point is to start in these census tracts with red and orange, because that's where their most opportunity is, and then let's make sure to lend to the rest of the market so that we're serving everyone there. From here, the question could be, well, what do I do with this information? How do I make this actionable? And the answer lies in, well, let's add a specific data set. Our listings, our live listings, property listings from the MLS. So if I were to click on one of these listings, I would see this is 4966 Emmett Still Road in Loganville. Here's the list price. And by the way, here's the listing agent and contact information. So now loan officers have a place to start, someone to talk to. Now we can also filter these listings by clicking on the layer name and saying, look, I just want to see the listings in LMI census tracts. So what does that look like? And I can very easily filter my listings so that only the listings that fall within LMI census tracts appear on the screen. And of course, once the tool returns this information, loan officers will then be able to see in spreadsheet form where those listings are. And we're just retrieving the data for the map. So this indicates that the listings are being filtered, and voila, here are the listings that fall within LMI census tracts. And from there, we can identify who the top listing agents are. So if we were to, I'm going to hide these for a moment and say, look, here is the African American opportunity once more. So if this is an area of high opportunity, in fact, I don't need to consider the whole market. I need to just look at this area. And so therefore, what I'm going to do is identify that area specifically and use it as its own market. And again, from here, I can identify who or which listings are currently live in just this area. And from here, if I go to my spreadsheet view, I'm able to see who the top, or actually the first is I'll be able to see all of the listings that fall within my submarket or my mortgage opportunity zone, 698. And then I can click on the Buy Agent tab in order to see who the top listing agents are just in that specific geography. So again, the whole point, and here's Kim Klur, and here's her contact information. And if I scroll to the right, I can see this is what she's done. She has 802 active listings, and then in the past 12 months, she's had 2,300, of which she sold 838 properties with an average close price. Okay, so back to the map. Now a couple tables. The first is the HMDA Top Lender Report. This is looking historically at the performance of the top lenders. So we can see that in Atlanta, Ameris Bank did this in the US and then did this specifically in Atlanta, right over here. From here, we can figure out, okay, well, this is nice. This is for all purchase, But what about who did the most loans to African American borrowers? We would say, oh, that's Homestar Corporation. And so we would be able to segment this table by race, ethnicity, by loan type, and by borrower income, just like we were able to do on the map. Now, the next report is the top loan originator report. And this is looking at year to date in Atlanta, who the top loan officers are. So we have Mark Dacker and his NMLS ID. He works for Ameris Bank. So he is a lender versus Kevin Rubin, who works with several companies who might be a broker. And again, this is what Mark has done in the US, and this is what Mark has done in Atlanta specifically. Now we could also pivot this information by lender to get a view like this. Okay, well, Rocket is number one year to date because this is what they've done in the US, but here's what they've done in Atlanta specifically. So this platform allows you to bring multiple data sets together and blend them seamlessly so that you can identify gaps in coverage in your market. You can quantify the opportunity presented by diverse markets. You can figure out who the top who the top realtors are in order to make sure you're developing the right business relationships with the right realtors in the right places. And then finally, being able to identify who the right loan officers are that are originating this business in the submarkets in the very specific neighborhoods where you want to be. So make sure that your lending strategy matches holistically and not just hire LOs anywhere in Atlanta, because you don't want to be everywhere in Atlanta. You want to be in specific areas. Thanks for watching today's overview of Mortgage MarketSmart. See you next time.